Face up to. Face up to.
Tom won't admit to himself that he can't play the violin. Eventually, he will have to face up to the fact that he's a bad musician. Laura says she wants to break up with me, but I think she'll change her mind.
I think you have to face up to the fact that she loves someone else. She's not coming back.
Fall back on. Fall back on.
Paul wants to be a novelist, but if it doesn't work out, he can always fall back on his teaching career.
What if the airstrike on the city fails?
We'll have to fall back on Plan B, sending in the ground forces. Fall behind. Fall behind.
Midway through the race, the leading horse fell behind and finished in third place.
Can you work for me tonight?
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm falling behind in my school studies, and I have to catch up. Fall in love. Fall in love.
Mary and Michael fell in love in high school. 5 years later, they got married and had children.
Janet, you look positively radiant. Do you have something to tell me?
I've fallen in love with my accountant. Fall off. Fall off.
Dan fell off his bicycle and broke his ankle.
I love how the trees change colors in the autumn.
Soon, the leaves will fall off the trees and it will be winter. Fall through. Fall through.
We wanted to build a house this summer, but I lost my job, so our plans fell through.
Did you settle the contract with the investors?
The deal fell through. They found a better offer at another company. Feel like. Feel like.
Lisa didn't feel like going to the party, so she stayed at home.
I feel like having some ice cream.
So do I. There's an ice cream parlor just around the corner. Feel sorry for. Feel sorry for.
I feel sorry for Michael. He lost his job and his dog died.
Poor you. You must feel horrible about losing the game.
Don't feel sorry for me. We'll win next time. Feel up to. Feel up to.
Losing the competition was a terrible blow for John. He didn't feel up to talking about it with the press.
Do you feel up to going outside for some fresh air?
I'm still quite sick. I don't think I want to do anything just yet. 50-50. 50-50.
There were only 2 applicants, and both were equally qualified. Paul's chances of getting the job were 50-50.
Look at all this money! There must be $1,000 here.
Let's split it 50-50. 500 for you and 500 for me. Figure out. Figure out.
Sally couldn't understand the math problem. Finally, after 20 minutes, she figured it out and came up with the answer.
Have you heard that Michael quit his job and moved to Cuba?
I can't figure that man out. He's always making rash decisions. Fill in. Fill out.
We need to know your previous medical history. Could you fill in the details on this form?
I'd like to apply for a job, please.
Fill out this application form and have a seat. The manager will be with you shortly. Fill somebody in. Fill somebody in.
Paul missed the meeting, but his boss filled him in on the particulars the very next day.
Yesterday, the teacher told us what chapters to study for the next exam.
Could you fill me in? I was absent for the last class. Fill in for. Fill in for.
Dr. Jameson is ill and won't be able to see his patients next week. Dr. Jones will be filling in for him in the meantime.
Could you fill in for me at work today? I have to meet with my lawyer.
Sure, but this is the third time I've taken your shift. You owe me. Fill out. Fill out.
Sarah used to be really slim, but in the last few years, she's begun to fill out.
Michael lost so much weight after the surgery.
Yes, but he's been filling out nicely lately. He's looking a lot healthier.
Fill up on. Fill up on.
Brian filled up on the main course and didn't have room for dessert.
Don't fill up on appetizers. I'm preparing a large dinner tonight.
Don't worry, I'm extremely hungry. Find out. Find out.
Laura didn't know that the president had been shot. She didn't find out about it until 2 days later.
Do you know when these reports are due?
No, but I'll find out. I'll ask the boss at the meeting today. Fix up. Fix up.
Don bought an old car, but he fixed it up and sold it for 3 times the original price.
This house is so old. Are you sure you want to buy it?
If we fix it up with some paint and a few repairs, it will look brand new. Fool around. Fool around.
The pupils were fooling around during the lesson. They weren't paying attention to what the teacher was saying. Stop fooling around with that camera. You'll break it.
Sorry, Mom. I promise to behave from now on.
For good. For good.
Don has tried to quit smoking 4 times, but he always starts again. This time, he is planning to quit for good.
Did you break up with Mary again? Is it for good this time?
Yes, it is. I'll never get back together with her. For sure. For sure.
Brian thought World War II started in 1939, but he didn't know for sure. He had to check his history book.
I don't think the American embassy is on this street.
I know for sure that it is. I was just here last week. Get across. Get across.
Brian is very smart, but he often has difficulty getting his meaning across.
Am I getting my idea across?
Yes, I understand you perfectly. Get ahead of. Get ahead of.
Tom wanted to get ahead of the competition, so he introduced a new line of products on the market.
I'm going to become the most famous artist in the world.
Don't get ahead of yourself. First, you have to pass your courses. Get on. Get along.
Paul can't seem to get on with his fellow colleagues. He's always arguing with them. Mom, Billy is making me angry again.
Why can't you two just get along? Brothers and sisters shouldn't fight so much.
Get around. Get around.
After Lisa sold her car, she got around the city using public transportation.
You broke your leg? How do you get around?
I'm on crutches. They're difficult to use, but they help me walk. Get around. Get around.
Jeff realized that he could get around his money problems if he took in a boarder.
But what about computer viruses?
We can get around the problem by installing a new security program. Get around to. Get around to.
John has been planning to build a deck on his house for 2 years, but he still hasn't gotten around to it.
Did you wash the car yesterday?
I didn't have time. I'll get around to it later this week. Get away with. Get away with.
Bill got away with the crime. The police never caught him, and so he didn't go to jail.
If I'm careful, I can carry all 5 buckets to the car in one trip.
You'll never get away with it. You only have 2 hands, and the car is parked far away. Get by. Get by.
Paul figured that if he budgeted his vacation carefully, he could get by on $25 a day.
How are you going to afford the rent if you've lost your job?
I'll get by. I still have some money in my savings account. Get carried away. Get carried away.
Dan got too carried away with winning the game and forgot to have fun.
I really think Bill loves me. Do you think he'll ask me to marry him?
Now, don't get carried away. You've only been on one date together. Get down to. Get down to.
After some pleasant remarks about the weather, the men got down to serious business.
Should we watch the football match on television?
Let's get down to work. We have a presentation to prepare for tomorrow. Get even. Get even.
Michael stole my job, but I got even with him. My favorite clients are planning to go wherever I do.
Didn't you lose to this team last week?
Yes, but this is our chance to get even. If we win today, the series will be tied 1-1. Get in. Get in.
Mary got in the taxi and the driver took her to the airport.
I like your car. Does it go fast?
Get in and I'll take you for a ride. Get in. Get in.
Tom's plane gets in at 10 o'clock tonight. He should be home shortly after that.
Where's Lisa? Doesn't she know we have a meeting this morning?
She usually gets in late. I don't think she'll be here on time. Get on. Get on.
When the bus opened its doors, Mary got on and sat near the back.
If we don't get on that plane, it'll leave without us.
Don't worry. We still have lots of time before it takes off. Get off. Get off.
Laura got off her bicycle and walked it across the busy street.
Does this bus stop at the Parliament building?
Yes, but you should have gotten off at the last stop. Get off. Get off.
We assumed he was guilty, but his lawyer was very clever and got him off.
Did the principal expel you from school?
Not at all. I got off with a slap on the wrist. Get out of. Get out of.
Paul and his family managed to get out of the apartment building before it collapsed.
Let's get out of this place. The music is too loud.
But I was just starting to have a good time. Get out of. Get out of.
Brian pretended to be sick and got out of going to school.
Weren't you supposed to help Paul move today?
Yes, but I got out of it. I didn't feel like carrying his furniture up 3 flights of stairs. Get over. Get over.
It has taken Diane 4 years to get over the death of her husband. Finally, she has started smiling again.
Do you still have a cold?
I can't seem to get over it. I've been sneezing for the past 2 weeks. Get rid of. Get rid of.
It was 15 years before John got rid of his old jacket. It was starting to get holes in it, so he threw it in the trash.
That's the 10th time Tom has made a mistake on the delivery orders.
Why don't you get rid of him? If you hired someone else, this company would be better off. Get the better of. Get the better of.
William thinks he can make me angry with all his nasty remarks, but I won't let him get the better of me.
I'll never get into an argument with Paul again. He's impossible to talk to.
Why don't you just admit that he has got the better of you? Get to. Get to.
When Tom got home, he made some dinner and then went straight to bed.
Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the post office from here?
Follow this road to the main street and then take a right. Get up. Get up.
Paul usually gets up every morning at 7 a.m., but today his alarm didn't go off and he slept in.
It's time to get up and go to school.
But it's Saturday today. Can't I sleep in? Give out. Give out.
The woman was giving out free samples of cheese to the customers at the supermarket.
Do you know where I can find out more about this product?
They're giving out brochures at the information desk. Give up. Give up.
Lisa gave up smoking for good. She hasn't had a cigarette in over 4 years.
I have the most terrible hangover.
You should really give up drinking. It's bad for your health. Give up. Give up.
Brian tried to convince Sally to marry him, but he gave up. She just didn't love him enough.
I have a joke for you. Why did the chicken cross the road?
I give up. Why? Go around. Go around.
It was illegal to walk through the park, so Michael had to go around it.
The front door is locked.
Let's go around to the back of the building to see if there's another entrance. Go back on. Go back on.
Katie went back on her original promise to John. She said she'd help him with his homework, but then she decided not to.
I told Jane that you were going to quit your job.
You went back on your promise. You said you wouldn't tell her. Go off. Go off.
We have to catch Brian before he goes off to work.
Where did Mary go?
She went off to the bathroom. She'll be right back. Go off. Go off.
In the middle of the night, Tim was awakened by a noise. He thought he heard a gun go off.
What happened in the news today?
An explosion went off in the city center. They suspect it was terrorists. Go for. Go for.
Sarah was offered an opportunity to work abroad, but in the end, she decided not to go for it. She wanted to be close to her family.
I was asked to play a part in a movie, but I've never acted before.
Go for it. It could be the chance of a lifetime. Go on with. Go on with.
After a brief intermission, the actors went on with their performance.
Sorry for the interruption.
That's okay. Go on with what you were saying. Go out with. Go out on.
Dawn is going out with a woman from the office. They've been dating for 5 months.
Why are you dressed up in a suit and tie?
I'm going out on a date tonight. Go over. Go over.
Tim went over his study notes before the test.
Can we go over that report again?
There's no time. The meeting is in 5 minutes. Go with. Go with.
You should buy that gray tie. It would go well with your navy suit.
Don't you like my shoes?
Yes, but they don't go with your belt. They're the wrong color. Go without. Go without.
I could go without having a vacation this year. I had one last year.
Did you hear about that couple who got stranded in the desert?
Yes, they went without food and water for 5 days. Goof off. Goof around.
Paul goofed off all year, and now he has to catch up on all his studies.
Where's that noise coming from? I can't hear the movie.
Some kids are goofing around in the back row of the cinema. Grow out of. Grow out of.
Michael grew out of his old clothes. They don't fit him anymore.
Mom, my feet hurt.
I think you're growing out of your shoes already. We'll have to buy you some new ones. Grow up. Grow up.
When little Billy grows up, he wants to be an astronaut.
Where did you grow up?
I spent my childhood in Japan, but I moved to Canada when I turned 18. Grow up. Grow up.
Grow up, John. You're a 42-year-old man and you're behaving like a child.
Paul annoys me at times. He acts silly and immature.
I know. I wish he'd grow up and act his age. Had better. Had better.
If William wants to become a doctor, he had better study hard in university.
Do you know what's troubling Frank?
No, but we'd better talk to him. I'm starting to worry about him. Hand in. Hand in.
Lisa was busy doing her essay all evening. She had to hand it in to the teacher by 8 o'clock in the morning.
Please hand in your homework.
I left it at home. Can I give it to you tomorrow? Hand out. Hand out.
On the first day of classes, the teacher handed out course descriptions to all the students.
How should we advertise our new restaurant?
We could hand out flyers to people passing on the streets. Hand over. Hand over.
The president handed over control of the government to the rebels.
Did they dismiss you from the police force?
Yes, I handed over my badge and gun yesterday. Hang around. Hang around.
After the movie, Sarah hung around outside the cinema to casually chat with friends.
I should go. I have to get up early in the morning.
Why don't you hang around a little longer? The party hasn't even begun. Hang up. Hang up.
Kevin hung up the phone after he finished talking to his wife.
Hey, you hung up on me. I wasn't finished talking.
I'm sorry, I thought you were through. It's a good thing you called back. Hard of hearing. Hard of hearing.
The old man had to lean in closer to listen to the conversation. He was a little hard of hearing.
Could you speak up? I'm a little hard of hearing.
I said, could you turn down the volume on the television? Have nothing to do with. Have nothing to do with.
Paul had nothing to do with the crime committed around the corner. He wasn't even in town that day.
Are you responsible for hiring secretaries in this department?
I have nothing to do with it. You need to speak to Miss Johnson. Have one's way. Have one's way.
John wasn't in charge of hiring employees, but if he had his way, he would select people with a lot more experience.
There are too many cars on the roads these days. The pollution is getting bad.
If I had my way, no one would be allowed to drive in the city center. Have to do with. Have to do with.
This course has to do with the history of modern Asia.
You might get better marks if you weren't going out with Jane.
What does she have to do with it? I'm failing because we have a bad teacher. Hear from. Hear from.
Dan had a job interview yesterday, but he hasn't heard back from them yet. They are supposed to call sometime this week.
Hello, Katie. Is that you? Jane, I haven't heard from you in ages. How are you?
Hear of.
Sarah heard of a good restaurant around the corner. She hasn't been there, but her friend said it was good.
Have you ever heard of Jimmy Stewart?
I think so. Wasn't he an American actor? Hold off.
Tim and Laura held off their plans to get married. They wanted to wait until they were more financially secure.
We were supposed to start a new business this year.
Let's hold off on the idea until we get more experience. Hold on.
As the bus rounded a corner, Dan held on to the railing so he wouldn't fall.
I just love roller coasters!
You better hold on. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Hold out.
The Texas company offered to buy the business for $1 million, but Mr. Smith held out for a better deal.
We could sell this painting for $5,000.
Shouldn't we hold out for more money? I think it's worth more than that. Hold still.
If you stop moving around and just hold still, I'll take the sliver out of your foot.
Hold still. You have a bee on your back.
Quick, get it off. Hold up.
Harry held his gold medal up in the air so everyone could see it.
I'm not sure where to put that painting.
I'll hold it up against the wall so you can see how it looks here. Hold up.
Peter was supposed to be at the meeting at 10 a.m., but he was held up in traffic. He didn't get there until 11 a.m.
I don't mean to hold you up, but can you help me with my bags?
I'm sorry, but we're in a rush. We're already late. Hold up.
On the way home from work, Lisa was held up by a mugger. He stole all the money from her purse.
You look frightened. What happened?
Someone held up the gas station with a gun. We were lucky to get out alive.